Hey guys, what's going on? Doki989 here, giving you a Halo Wars 2 video. We do have a lot of evidence that Halo Wars 2 will be coming out sometime in the next year, maybe in 2014 or later in this year. They probably would have announced it already, but we do have some more information about it. So before we dive right into that, we're going to start back and talk about what happened to Ensemble Studios, the studio that made Halo Wars 1 when it came out in 2009. They were also famously known for making Age of Empires 1, 2, 3. They also did some Civilization stuff. So yeah, what happened with them is they pretty much disbanded. Kotaku had a great article on why they ended up closing up just days after Halo Wars came out. So here are some of the points that they point out. Is that failure to diversify Ensemble were responsible for many of the finest strategy titles ever developed, and they were responsible for strategy games don't make the money like they used to. And then the studio grew too big. They went from around 40 people to 75 people in like 3 years, and the feeling of like that close group of like making their own games kind of diluted. And the last thing is there doesn't always have to be a reason. They're kind of like a 20 to 30 years married couple that just gets divorced because they grow apart. And that's kind of what happened with that group, is that once you had so many people actually working for the studio, the goal and the vision just kind of blurred out, so they disbanded. So who owns Halo Wars and the rights to create it and everything? Well, Microsoft Studios does now. They pretty much kind of shut it down. That's what a lot of people kind of say, is that they were dissolving and Microsoft Studios kind of like just ate them all up. Some of them joined them, some other ones made some other studios that failed and joined some other studios. They all kind of disbanded everywhere. So 343 would be the most likely person to develop the Halo Wars 2 game, which would probably come out in 2014, like I said before. Overall, Halo Wars was a very successful game. They had like 2.3 million sales compared to like they were like the leader of the strategy games in Xbox. The next one was End War, which had only 800,000 products sold, while Halo Wars had over 2 million. They made like 75 million bucks on this game. It was a great payday for them, compared to Halo 4, which had over 8 million games sold. But again, it's strategy games. They don't have that much of an audience, but that's very well, and they did appeal to more than just a small niche of players. So now we get back to Halo Wars 2. So what the hell's going on with Halo Wars 2? Well, at GamesCon, they had an exclusive kind of like insider kind of viewing and showing of Halo Wars 2 trailer that 343 made. So we do know that 343 Industries will be presenting the game. The presentation was pretty much pre-rendered trailer cuts, kind of like it didn't actually show any actual game footage. It was more of a teaser trailer, let's say. But definitely there was there was some game showing of like the pre-alpha stages. Nothing very special that we'd actually be seeing in the actual game, but very beginning of the graphics and everything. And there's some like Spartans going on and going and attacking some Scarab, which is pretty cool. Also, what's really important to know is that actually, kind of looking back at this, I recommended this to on Ensembles on their forums way back when. I always would talk to my dad, and we'd always play this game together. And I would always say if they ever made a sequel to Halo Wars 2, they'd have to put some FPS into it. So like you have your armies like already there, and then you battle them out. Like you'd be a Spartan or a Marine or pilot a Hornet or something. I'm going to go try and find that forum post, because I definitely remember seeing it like a year ago when I was looking at for Halo Wars 2 stuff too. But actually, in Halo Wars 2, you will be able to go into a first-person type shooter and play as a Spartan and shoot the enemies during some of your battles or whatever. There's also some more customization too, where you can do place airstrikes and whatever, ordnance for your players and units. And that mode that I was talking about when you go into FPS, like the first-person shooter type of action, is called Assault mode. That's what they're calling it. So Firefight's also back. You can play with your friends. You can also have Covenant and Promethean weapons, which is really cool. And I think that's also like a lot of fun, because it's never ending and those bases will keep coming and you have to build units. I always wanted to have Firefight with Halo Wars. I think it'd be great. So anyway, that's pretty much all the information we we have about Halo Wars 2 right now. It's definitely in the makings. Just the amount of units they sold, the amount of discs they sold is just so much more compared to any other strategy game. 343, I give them credit for doing it. I mean, Bungie didn't make this. Ensemble is like just a legend with strategy games, but I'm giving them a shot because the game was so successful. And with that said, that's all we know right now. We'll definitely be hearing more as Christmas comes and maybe some E3 next year. But it's definitely in the makings. This all seems to be pointing towards it. And hopefully we'll be able to get more information very soon. Thank you guys so much for watching. And make sure to comment, rate, and subscribe to Doki989 to stay up to date with the latest Minecraft, Xbox 360, Halo Wars, Battlefield 3, and everything in between. Thanks guys for watching. Peace.